I am interested to see, I don't know if it will get there, but I would love to see it be able to start connecting dots. So taking all this information, humans are analyzing different data, they're synthesizing it, and they're coming out with ideas and ways of innovating, ways of coming up with better ways of doing things. And can machines do that, or can they help to connect those dots? I think that's a really interesting question that I'm interested in exploring, and I hope we see in the future and will help with foresight. I think another area, it's not just about using one technology that's in here but used over here, is also can we identify opportunities and threats by looking at one industry and another and making some comparisons. So someone who's doing foresight today is probably only looking at their area, but are there insights from another area that might actually reveal opportunities and threats in my area? And that's predictive modeling is so close to my heart that I can't not say that. There's so many areas in which modeling can be used, and there are places still today where humans have to make decisions, and I'm really interested in how can we train models to mimic the decisions of those humans. Not all decisions, of course, but those that are appropriate that a machine could do, but maybe even do it better than humans. There's still a lot of bias in decision making today, but that's a challenge, right? Is how do you train a model on human activity, which already has its own inherent bias, and then make it not biased? And I think that's a really, really interesting area for us to explore, but a huge area of opportunity as well. The biggest challenge facing it is what I talked about earlier, which is all about, how do we be advocates and educate the public and educate policymakers and corporate leaders about what are the realities of AI? How do we keep people excited about the promise and the developments that are coming out every single day? But at the same time, we have to provide the caveats around transparency, and here's what it can do today, and here's what it can do in the future. And it's going to take some time to get from point A to point B. We'll get there, but be patient. And really, it's just, I want AI to succeed in the world. I think there are so many opportunities for it to make our lives better. And it's really just all about everyone, helping to demystify it, to be advocates for it, and to be, speak openly about and transparently about how it works and what it does, and then finally to just apply it thoughtfully, use it for the things that make sense for it to be used for today, and not use it in places that are inappropriate and that lead to people to being disappointed, distrusting, fearful even in some cases. I think it really comes back to people and capabilities. Having people who are AI literate, so I think you probably want most of your workforce to be AI literate, and then you need to have a certain share of your workforce to be AI experts. And so a really important question that I think about is, how do we attract and retain that talent? And it's actually a tool. I think when it comes to the population of employees that you have today, you can get them really excited about working for your company because you are doing really exciting things about AI. Sometimes that's low-hanging fruit. We do stuff, but we don't talk about it widely. And that's just kind of money we're leaving on the table, so to speak, right? That we could just take the things we're already doing and publicize them among our employees and highlight to them, we're an innovative company, we're tech forward, and we want you to be tech forward, and that will motivate them to want to do more, to do better, to explore things that they haven't yet explored. Part of that, I guess, is also just creating a culture of people feel free to experiment, to fail, to speak openly about what they think, to speak openly about things that they might have concerns about. Sometimes people are afraid to speak up about those things. And be kind of creative and visionary and big-minded. And then, of course, there's this, how do we then kind of attract in the new talent? How do we find the people who are those AI experts? And, that's a whole nother area. But again, it's kind of creating the culture within to show the external world and those potential employees, this is a place that you want to work, that you can help make an impact in, and we are going to empower you, and we're going to fund you Thing about this summit's been well, everything about this summit has been fantastic, but I really enjoy, particularly because I work in the digital space, we make software, we make, not real things, so to speak, they're not tangible. And there's so many people here coming from industries where they're making real tangible things. So it's always refreshing to me to kind of talk to those people and hear their perspectives. And then there's just a great diversity here of, I'm probably one of the very few Americans here. There are differences in what people think about depending on which geography they're in. So hearing those differences, but for the key takeaway here really is that despite all of these differences and all these rich conversations I've had, we are all facing very, very similar challenges, and in many cases the solutions are going to be quite similar as well. I think that's really important for everybody to remember.